Some people spend their lives in a haunted house, but in some cases, the living entities there are so strong that you can't even stay there for 3 days. And this is the story of our story today. So put on your headphones and do your math. If it's dark in the room, turn on the lights. If you're sitting on the bed, make sure to check under the bed. If you're driving, do check your back seats once. And sit in the bathroom and listen to these stories, because you won't be able to hear them. Nargis and Hussein, a couple from Karachi, who spent 3 days of their lives in a way that became the biggest story of their lives. Those 3 scary days, maybe not everyone could bear it, or maybe no one could bear it. Because we're not talking about a haunted house where the hauntings are very minor. There are sounds of walking at night. There are sounds of dragging things on the roof. We're talking about a haunted house where either it's day or night. The monsters that lived there were always visible. A flat in Garden East. If you call it a portal to hell, it wouldn't be wrong. Nargis and Hussein got married only 4 years ago. Their 2 sons, who were still very young. When Nargis got married, he lived in a joint family with his in-laws. Nargis says that her husband is very well aware of how toxic his in-laws were. For years later, Nargis and Hussein had to separate from their families. Within 2 days, they decided that they didn't want to live here anymore. Nargis and Hussein had an option that they could stay at Nargis's parents' house for a few days. But Hussein said that now that they have to shift and move out, why not move out to their house and start a new life? Hussein finds a house in Garden East, a house that Hussein had seen, and the building was also old, but the house had been renovated very well. Hussein tells Nargis that we just have to keep the stuff. Everything in that house is well maintained. That house is completely renovated. There are tiled floors, in which Nargis was very excited. But because of packing her stuff, Nargis could not go to see the house. When Nargis and Hussein reached that house with their stuff, it was 10:30 at night. Nargis says that everything was perfect in the house, but it felt like nothing was right. But we had just left this house for a few moments. Now there was stuff to sort and start a new life. Nargis says that a day before that, Nargis unpacked her room. In the meantime, Hussein was looking for a house. And the next day, we were in our house. Nargis got her mattress in a bedroom, which was a master bedroom. There, the owner had also put a beautiful framed glass on a pillar next to the wall. The kitchen cabinets were completely clean. Although the map of the house was on old tiles, obviously, it had been 20 years, but everything was very bright. Nargis had brought some food with her, which was kept in it after setting the fridge, and the husband and wife had not eaten yet. And this was their first night in that scary house, at around 2:30 at night. When the husband and wife adjusted some things and sat tired, the children also ate something like this and sat down and went to bed. And they had gone to bed very early. Now the husband and wife had got the time for the first time in 4 years to sit together without anyone's interruption. And the husband and wife were sharing the food brought from their old house in a plate. Hussein's bag was towards the entrance of the room, and Nargis says that where she was sitting, the wall outside the common room was clearly visible while eating food. Nargis feels that there are a lot of shadows on that wall. Nargis shakes Hussein with the gesture of her hand and addresses him. Hussein turns around and sees that they also see shadows on the wall and immediately stand up. Hussein wonders who has come to the house at this time, whether the door is left open. And being a man, his defensive instincts become alert immediately to protect his family. And Hussein immediately goes to the living room, but there is no one. In the living room or the common room, Hussein thought that maybe a car passed on the road outside, and because of its headlights, the shadows are on the wall. And we felt that maybe someone's shadow was walking on the wall. Hussein checked all the windows near the common room. His apartment was on the second floor. The direction of any headlight from the road could not have been such that the shadow could be seen on the wall. But both the husband and wife laughed it off because the excitement was so much. This was the first incident of that night. Around 4 o'clock, both the husband and wife were preparing to sleep after finishing more work. Hussein was probably making hair in the glass frame in their master bedroom or taking a picture, and while taking the picture or looking in the mirror, he could see the entrance of the room from behind, and from there, the same wall of the common room could be seen outside, and then there was a way behind it, which went to the drawing room and went to the living room. Hussein tells that he was constantly looking at his wife in the mirror. She sometimes went to this room, sometimes to that room, and Hussein was thinking that this woman is not tired. She is very excited to come to the new house, that she is still working, and in such a long time, the door opens. There was a door next to that glass that belonged to the bathroom. The door slowly opens and the light comes out of it. The ground comes out from under Hussein's feet when he stands there and looks at his wife. Hussein was not believing his eyes, and there were millions of questions in his mind in a few moments. That if this is my wife, then who is in the glass? Has my sister-in-law come? Or someone has come, but no one has come? And such questions suddenly roam in a person's mind very fast when he sees something like this. What happened, Hussein? Nargis, I am tired. Hussein replied, we should sleep now. And Hussein did not share this with Nargis. So the husband and wife finally get tired and go to sleep. But Hussein's sleep seems to have flown away. Until morning. They sleep peacefully, and there is a constant feeling as if someone is watching them. In the morning, the light from the outside in the new empty house seems to be very good, and the husband and wife get up early because their children have woken up. Nargis says that Allah has been very merciful that Hussein took a 5-day leave from his office for shifting, and the children's school was already on vacation. It is very fortunate that her husband and children were at home. Otherwise, if Nargis had to endure all this alone, she might have died. The morning sun, which shone through the windows, was bringing a lot of positivity in the house and was presenting a new future. Nargis says that she gets involved in household chores. Children, husband, and Hussein are also involved in household chores. And then Hussein says that I did not sleep. I want to sleep. Hussein goes to the master bedroom to sleep at about 12:30 in the afternoon. And Nargis is working at home. At about 1:30, the bell rings in their house. Maybe the garbage collector has come, or the watchman will be there. Nargis goes and opens the door, and there is an iron grill behind the door, which can be seen outside. But Nargis opens the grill and looks outside. There is no one outside. She runs her eyes far away, but there is no one on the floor far away. There is only a staircase on the right side, which goes to the lower and upper floors. Some child has done mischief and thinking about it. Nargis closes the door and walks 6 or 7 steps with difficulty, and the bell rings again. Nargis turns around and goes to the door. This time, the wooden door opens with a bang and looks outside. There is no one. Nargis gets very angry that who is doing this disgusting act, and now Nargis closes the door and turns around. Not a step is taken, and the bell rings again. Nargis turns around and looks out of the peek hole on the door. There is no one outside. At about evening, at sunset, Hussein tells Nargis that there is a grocery store nearby. Bring some things from there for home, so that you can cook the food of the house properly tomorrow. Children are present in the house. Nargis tells that Hussein must have gone out of the house for 25 minutes with difficulty, and this incident took place in those 25 minutes. Nargis comes to the living room while working. There was a common bathroom in the living room or common room, which was very clean, but it was not for use, so it was closed. There was a small lion there, whose roar can be heard clearly outside. Nargis walks towards the bathroom with complete confidence, thinking that her son may have gone to the bathroom. Nargis tries to open the door, so the door is closed from inside. Nargis thinks and smiles that her children have grown up so much that they close the door and go to the washroom. Nargis thinks the same and knocks on the door. So a child's voice comes from inside, as if he is answering the knock of Nargis. Nargis asks how long will you come out, because she has complete confidence that one of her two sons is inside. There is no answer. Nargis looks around. A tablet is visible on the mattress in the master bedroom, and the other son is coloring. In his coloring book, when I heard it right, is anyone really inside? Nargis knocks again, and the sound of the tap stops, like silence. Nargis is going from the bathroom to her master bedroom in anxiety, and again she counts her children, who are only 2. What I am seeing or what I am experiencing, and when she turns around and goes to the bathroom for the last time, the sound of the bathroom door opening comes from inside. Nargis opens the door. The whole bathroom is dry, if someone has used it. Then why is the bathroom dry, and how did the lock open from inside, which was closed before? It was very obvious for any person to understand. Hussein was climbing the stairs of his apartment with bags in both hands, and he was talking to his office by putting his phone on his shoulder, and Nargis and her 2 children were sitting on the stairs in front. Very casually, Hussein asks what happened. Nargis explains the whole matter. Hussein says that there is nothing like that, but Hussein has seen something at night. But his saying this, or expressing his fear, means that his wife and children will also be afraid. Nothing is there. Nothing is there, Hussein says, and enters the house, goes to the bathroom. It is obvious that the bathroom is empty. We have seen this whole situation in many horror movies. This was the second day and the night of the second day, which was their last night in that house. Both husband and wife were preparing to sleep at night. There was still a lot of stuff left in the house. Hussein gets tired and goes to sleep very quickly because his sleep was getting very disturbed. The children are also asleep. Nargis was scrolling her phone while lying on the bed. She hears the sound of Hussein's rumbling, and Nargis says that this was not the first time. Hussein was used to rumbling in his sleep, but he was talking a lot. And then Hussein says something that makes Nargis pay more attention to Hussein's words. Tell him to remove his hair. And he is not doing this in sleep, at least it seems so. Tell him to remove his hair. His hair is going into my throat. Hussein keeps saying such strange things for a long time that Nargis forcibly picks up Hussein's hand, and in a few seconds, Hussein's whole body becomes wet with sweat. Although this is what is going on, Hussein's eyes are like soaked in tears and red. What happened to Hussein? Hussein says that a woman was sitting on my chest, and her hair was so long that her hair was going inside my open mouth to my throat. Nor did I understand her face. Only her hair was in front of my eyes and in my throat, and I tried to call you many times, but you didn't listen. I saw the children. I saw you too. I was just looking at everyone. I didn't hear you. 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 I was screaming for help. But no one was responding, and I was not able to say anything. And I was screaming for help, but no one was listening to me. This is a case of sleep paralysis. Nargis and Hussein think so, but in the case of sleep paralysis, the patient cannot speak. While Nargis heard Hussein speaking, your whole body becomes paralyzed. Your speaking abilities are also gone. Only your eyes are working, and all your internal organs are working. This was definitely not a case of sleep paralysis. But Hussein and Nargis did not understand this. Both the husband and wife were very scared. Somehow another day comes, which is their last day in that house. And the last two are such incidents that force them to run away from that house. For the afternoon, Nargis was cooking vegetables, and the fear of the night or the night was still in the minds of the husband and wife. Hussein was setting the TV in the living room with both the children, because life is to be spent in this house. And Nargis tells that the kitchen was thin and long, which was renovated. But it is obvious that its map could not be changed. And there was a door to the kitchen that used to come from the living room to the kitchen. And there was a gap on the door between the door and the roof. As before, it would be an open kitchen, and the owner of the house built a wall here and put a door, and the wall was not going up. So there would be a difference of about 3 to 2.5 feet between the roof and the door. Nargis was working, and suddenly the whole house rumbles with the sound of a collision. Nargis turns around and sees that the kitchen door is closed. Nargis is not afraid, nor is Hussein, whose answer they do not have. Nargis calls Hussein and tells him in Gujarati that Hussein opened the door. It is closed by air. Hussein stands up, tries to open the door, and just keeps struggling. The door had become like a wall. Nargis sees from inside that there is no lock. Hussein calls Nargis. Now Nargis tries to pull the door, and the door does not move at all. Now Nargis starts having a strange fear, and it feels like there is someone else with him in that kitchen. Nargis starts having a panic attack, and she starts crying and calling Hussein for help. When Hussein hears Nargis crying, he can't help it. He brings a stool and jumps into the kitchen from the upper gap. When he jumps into the kitchen, both the husband and wife try to pull the door, and the sounds of their child's crying start coming from the outside, as if someone is with them, or they have seen someone. As soon as the sound of their child's crying comes, the door opens here. Both the husband and wife come out, and the children cling to their parents as if they have been separated for centuries. All this happens so quickly that both the husband and wife do not understand. And there was another room in the children's living room, which did not have a wall, where they had kept their cartons, which had not been unpacked yet. The children point to it and cry as if they saw something there. Hussein also looks at it, and in the meantime, Nargis is looking at the door of the kitchen, while Hussein is taking care of the children. Nargis is seeing that the door is opening and closing very easily. This thing is now stuck in the mind of both the husband and wife. In the evening, Hussein takes his wife and children down to pick up the luggage. Now there is such a fear about which both the husband and wife are not talking, but both are scared. When both the husband and wife were in the market, Hussein said to his wife, "Look, Nargis, we will go to the Jamaat Khana tomorrow and talk to someone there. Maybe someone will help us." Both the husband and wife are talking the same thing in the market, and when they come to the market, it is as if they have taken a breath of peace. They just have to spend the night. In the morning, they will go to the Jamaat Khana, Hussein says. And then they go back to the flat with the things. The dinner is over before going to sleep. The husband and wife decide that we will open the last box to open and set it in the morning. Now Hussein would not have gone to that open room, in that room or that living room where the boxes are lying. Nargis first reaches there and then calls Hussein, "Hussein, come here," which Hussein understands that something has happened again. And they run and go to Nargis. Hussein and Nargis clearly saw that a girl is sitting behind the curtains. The first thought comes to their minds that maybe a girl from the neighborhood has come inside. But the girl's hair is long, just like someone was sitting on Hussein's chest at the time of sleep paralysis that day. Now these two husband and wife are talking about this. They are looking at that girl. That the girl starts jumping like a cat's child, jumping and running while doing mischief. And taking some 6 to 7 steps around the room, the girl jumps out of the ducting window and Hussein goes behind her. And Nargis stops Hussein before going ahead. Hussein tells that when Nargis held Hussein's arm, he was stammering as if the phone was vibrating. There was so much fear in Nargis's body, and seeing this condition of his wife, Hussein also seemed to have lost a little courage. Nargis picked up her bag, which is Nargis's purse or bag, held the slippers of both the children in her hands, picked up the keys of the important, expensive mobile wallet, and Hussein held his wife and children's hands and left the house, and straight to Nargis's mother's house. And then Hussein and Nargis did not step into that house again. For the next week, Hussein kept ordering things from there little by little, but did not take his wife and children there. Hussein got the house packed by the workers. The house was packed in the presence of about 10 to 15 people, and they returned to the house by apologizing to the owner of the house. But this story never ended, as if the fear of that house, and those 3 terrifying days, as if they miss their husband and wife every day, and those scenes do not leave their eyes. Perhaps this sounds like a film story to hear, and when we were young, we used to hear some scary incidents from our grandparents, so only 2 things used to come to mind. One is that if this had happened to us, what would have happened? Or if something like this had come here at this time, what would have happened? And when we grew up a little, a third question began to come to mind. I am enjoying listening to this story, but this story is very far-fetched. This story is not true. I do not think all this while narrating the story. My job is to narrate the story for you, and that was today's story. Until the next story.